not only is the Switch 2 launching by the time this goes on YouTube, but right now within a couple of days, with this week, we've also got a ton of showcases around Summer Games Fest, and Sony decided to add to that. So, welcome back to the Game News Show. Let's hop right in to our first story. State of Play returns tomorrow, June 4th, which is, if you're watching this on YouTube, right later today. And I have no idea what to expect, but hey, we're getting a State of Play from Sony, which means more remasters, more games that we're looking forward to that'll come out in 2 years. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this. I hate to sound shady or like I'm mad at Sony. It's just the last couple States of Play I've watched, I got kind of bored because it was just like, all right, that's cool, I guess. Anyway, the, I'm excited for it. It's Summer Games Fest, so we're gonna learn a lot about new releases very, very fast this week. But I guess Sony's getting out ahead of the game before the Switch 2 hype fully, comes in with the console releasing on the 5th. So hey, maybe they can surprise us with some excellent games and some other cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm always up for new announcements, and I may do a live react to this. I don't know. We'll kind of see where that goes because that's 4 o'clock my time. We'll see. But yeah, all right. Let's move on to our next story. Speaking of the State of Play, Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster hints multiply ahead of the June 4th State of Play. This is from Game Infinitus, posted by GI staff. A wave of new activity surrounding Final Fantasy Tactics has reignited speculation about a potential remaster, with multiple industry insiders and Square Enix representatives dropping subtle, if not deliberate, hints just days ahead of Sony's scheduled State of Play broadcast on June 4th. The most curious development came from Yasumi Matsuno, director and writer of the original Final Fantasy Tactics, now head of the independent studio Algebra Factory. Matsuno briefly retweeted a post from the official PlayStation Japan account announcing the upcoming presentation, though the retweet was later deleted. A screenshot of the action remains archived online. His temporary amplification of the event has prompted fans to believe he may be involved in the rumored project, particularly since his studio has collaborated with Square Enix in recent years. Further fueling the speculation, a senior manager, influencer relations at Square Enix, added to the excitement with an animated quote tweet originally shouting "whoop whoop whoop," before later editing the post to express hopes for a siphon filter reveal. Several Latin American Square Enix representatives also shared the State of Play announcement, contributing to the growing chorus of voices pointing to something significant. Adding more weight to the rumors, Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier, well known for his accurate gaming industry leaks, posted a series of cryptic comments. "I'm just saying, Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the greatest games ever made," he wrote before simply adding the word remaster in a follow-up post. The timing and tone of his messages suggest he may be teasing an imminent reveal. Sony confirmed the State of Play. 40-minute show will highlight upcoming PS5 titles from developers worldwide, with the Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster having been previously spotted in the now infamous GeForce Now database leak, which has already proven accurate on multiple fronts. The likelihood of its return has only strengthened. And then a little bit about Tactics. Originally released in '97 for the PlayStation, Final Fantasy Tactics earned critical acclaim for its deep tactical gameplay, intricate storyline, and innovative job system. While fans have long called for a modern revival, official confirmation has remained elusive until possibly now. So, with that, it seems like, that could happen. If it does, that's cool. I know a lot of people love Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm not great with tactics games, and I would be willing to give this one a go if the remaster looks significant enough to me. I don't know. I don't know what remaster means, in this case, because some studios do a remaster and basically remake the game. Some studios do a remaster and it's the OG game scaled up, and it's like, well, this is hard to see, so it could go either way, right? It could really go either way. But I'm excited to see what'll happen. That's something to look forward to with tomorrow's State of Play that we kind of know about. It's still rumored, but we'll find out. All right, let's go on. Next, all right, let's talk about Sega. Insider Gaming's Grant Taylor Hill writes, Sega unveils Sonic Blitz and leaks reveal a character list that's Smash Ultimate levels of deep. So Sega's delivered on I read that stupidly. Sega's delivered on months of rumors and unveiled Sonic Blitz, which has been dubbed a lightning-fast collectible card game that can be jumped into at any time. It's a mobile-only title developed by Rovio, the team behind Angry Birds, and it has just been soft launched in the Philippines for a technical test period. On social media, data miners have been getting their hands on the game, pulling out all the character references from the files, and revealing leaks regarding the Sonic Blitz roster. It looks like every Sonic character ever mentioned in the extended universe is being included in Sonic Blitz. I will go down further, but I wanted to say, I didn't know what to expect with this, but looking at the logo, there are cards, and I was like, how's a Sonic card game going to work? And it's Sega's take, or Rovio's take, on Marvel Snap or Pokemon TCG Pocket. They're trying to capitalize on that trend, fast playing collectible digital card games. Looks kind of cool in the gameplay stuff I've seen. I don't have a trailer or anything because I don't know what can and can't be shared, and I'd rather just not risk it. But we can talk about this. This is like out there, you know. They go on to write rich roster of characters. In a post on the Sega site, the team revealed Sonic Blitz is a collectible card game with an emphasis on lightning fast gameplay. It's easy to jump into at any time. Sonic Blitz draws upon the rich roster of characters in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe to create a diverse pool of cards that players can collect, upgrade, and assemble into strategic decks to take on opponents in fast-paced one-on-one battles that unfold in a matter of minutes. Again, Marvel Snap, TCG Pocket. That's all. That's like the vibe I got from this whole thing. In a series of follow-up posts on social media, it was revealed that data miners had already probed the game and found references and art for the most diverse of characters imaginable. It looks like the Sonic Blitz characters list is set to be as expansive as you could ever hope for, including some characters that are borderline obscure. For instance, this user posted references to the Conductor, Modern Mighty, Lanolin, and Bean. In another post, this user highlighted references for HoloLinks, Tangle, and Honey the Cat, stating that this is literally the Smash Ultimate of the Sonic series. While the technical test for Sonic Blitz unfolds in the Philippines, Sega and Rovio will be studying the game's performance metrics and performing any necessary tweaks before it's deployed worldwide. I'll check it out. I like digital card games. Marvel Snap, I come and go with. I'll start playing it for a little while and then I'll get kind of bored again. And it's been kind of the same with TCG Pocket. I like opening the booster packs in TCG, but I don't really like playing the game for very long. It's quick, and that's fine, but I don't have enough of the cards to build like a competitive deck. And so I'd rather just play the bots, at least feel like I'm doing something. So let's hope this is a little different, right? I can have fun. You know, I love the Sonic series, so we could enjoy this. I can't wait to check it out. The gameplay does look interesting. I just did not expect a Sonic card game. You know, apparently this has been rumored for months. I completely missed it. So what does it say about me? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. All right, let's talk about the Switch 2. We got a bunch of stories on Switch 2. It's launch week. And last week, we got a look at some new features coming to the Switch Online N64 catalog. This article is from Eurogamer. Switch 2 will bring new features to NSO's N64 catalog, including the ability to rewind gameplay. Well, there you go. No point in reading the article now. They pretty much just told us what we needed to know. Victoria Phillips Kennedy writes, in the run-up to the Switch 2's release next week, Nintendo has released a new video highlighting the changes N64 Classics will have on the console's debut. Those with a Switch Online plus expansion pack subscription are able to play classic games from the N64 days, and soon those on Switch 2 will be able to play these games and then rewind them when things don't quite go as planned. What? That has never happened to me. Okay, I don't like when anyway, let's not get too derailed and criticize the writing here. Pop on a CRT screen filter and remap the controls, which I thought controller remapping was already part of the N64 stuff, because people were talking about how to get GoldenEye to like play well with a modern controller, but maybe that was just the Xbox version. You can check out how all this looks in the video below, which the video is cool, but hey, we got a chart to look at. You guys know how I feel about charts. Those on the original Switch consoles won't be able to utilize the rewind feature or the CRT screen filter. They will be able to remap controls when this update goes live. As to when all this is happening, it'll be next Thursday, June 5th. That's the day Switch 2 releases. So here's the features. You get rewind and CRT filter on Switch 2. If you're on a Switch 1, you can change your controls. Congrats. If you're on Switch 2, you can do all the things. I just think it's cool that they're adding more functionality to the emulators. But it does kind of stink if you're stuck on a Switch 1 for the time being, that you don't get all the features. However, the Switch 1 at this point is barely running games, right? I mean, like, it's a miracle to me that Tears of the Kingdom exists on the Switch with 3 different like maps essentially, plus all the dungeons and all the things going on in that game. It is truly an amazing piece of hardware that we've had for well past its shelf life, let's say. So getting expanded functionality on the Switch 2, I won't complain about. I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see if they're adding more games. I have a personal wish list that has yet to be fulfilled regarding the entirety of the Switch Online classics catalog, mostly in the Game Boy department. But anyway, in the meantime, we wait patiently next week and check out a full rundown of games available on Nintendo subscription service for Handy Guide. Okay, so yeah, we covered the article. We looked at the chart. I think it's cool. I'm looking forward to checking it out. We'll check it out. Hopefully launch day. I will have my Switch 2 early enough to knock off work early and get things done. We'll probably... I'm shooting the live stream pretty much the whole setup experience just to... so anybody else could enjoy it. I don't know. It'll be fun. We'll do that and then we'll play Mario Kart. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to talk about Switch 2 a lot today. All right, let's talk about midnight launches. Insider Gaming's Ryan LeMay writes, Switch 2 midnight launch US explained, GameStop, Best Buy, and more. Switch 2 officially hits shelves soon. Here's everything you need to know about the highly anticipated console release in the US. If you are lucky enough to get your hands on a Switch 2, Mario Kart World is the main draw for getting the new system. However, there are a few other noteworthy exclusive games coming later this year, including Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kirby Air Riders, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. All games I'm very much looking forward to playing. In addition, several games are receiving upgrade packs, which improve their performance and add exclusive Switch 2 content. This are all reportedly part of a 3-phase plan to launch games on the new platform. If you want to get in during the first phase and not miss out on any of the releases, midnight launches offer a solution. So yes, GameStop and Best Buy are hosting in-person midnight launches for the Switch 2. GameStop confirmed that the launch events begin in store at 3 p.m. local time, June 4th. Pickups start at midnight Eastern time and 9 p.m. Pacific time, and the event will run until all consoles are officially sold out. Best Buy announced that if you pick up or purchase a console in-store on June 5th at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time, you have a chance to win a limited edition commemorative coin that features Best Buy and Nintendo branding. That sounds lame. Target and Walmart are not hosting midnight launches, but systems will be available in stores when doors open. I believe Target has not even done pre-orders. Like, you just gotta be there to get your Switch. It's unclear how difficult it will be to get a console. Nintendo's reportedly anticipating retailers to sell out of units at launch. More on that later. According to a post on Reddit, some retailers have already received out-of-stock signs in preparation. We expect fans to wait in line for hours, just as it was in the past for other console releases. Where else can we purchase a Switch 2? If you guys don't know, if you live under a rock, if you don't want to stay up and wait in line, you can also purchase a system online when they're in stock. Walmart, Target, Best Buy, GameStop, Mario Kart World Bundle, also from those same places. So, I've thought that it might be interesting to go to the GameStop midnight launch. Supposedly, they will have additional units just for people to be in line and purchase. But since I've got my Walmart pre-order, I don't know that I want to be a part of a local midnight launch at GameStop. It's like I don't know. I don't go out at midnight anymore. I'm old and tired, and that just doesn't sound as fun as it used to. But a part of me thinks it would be fun to just go out and talk with people, stream it, if just don't verify your address. Right. I didn't grab that article. Dang. Thanks for reminding me, Kel. I wish I had grabbed a link. Anyway, it's fine. We just won't cover it this week. But Walmart is screwing people over with their pre-orders. Thankfully, I'm unaffected, but I feel bad for anybody else. All right, let's move on to the next story. Why was that hard to say? All right, let's talk about this. I thought this was interesting. Slovenian Retailer fills his car with Switch 2 consoles for pre-launch road trip. This is on VGC, Video Games Chronicle, by Chris Scullion. With no official distribution in Slovenia, Konzolko hit the road. So look at this. Look at this dude. Got his Switch 2s and his compact European car. God, that's a lot of Switch 2s right there. Like, geez. All right, Slovenian Retailer drove a lengthy round trip to Italy to fill his car with Nintendo Switch 2 stock as the console launch nears. With seemingly no official distribution available in Slovenia, the owner of that store, Konzolko, decided to order stock from an Italian distributor instead. Rather than hoping the stock would be delivered to the store on time, they instead decided to go on a lengthy round trip to Italy, fill their car with as many Switch 2 consoles as it could hold. After telling users on Slovenian forum that he was traveling to Italy, he noted his worry that parts of the drive were dangerous, saying, "If he ends up in trouble, my customers will be my last concern. Either I will be broke somewhere, theft, or they will not be there at all, and I will dream of the house I could have. They're already paid for." Although the retailer didn't exactly say how many Switch 2 units he managed to fit into his car, he had previously calculated as many as 325 might fit. He did note, however, that when the rest of his delivery arrived, he was sure there would be enough Switch 2 consoles in stock to last the summer. After finally filling the car with half a ton of Switch 2 consoles, the owner finally got back to the store and started stocking the shelves. When asked by one forum user if there was anything to stop them selling the consoles early, he replied, "Officially, I doubt it," but added that while it's technically possible, he didn't want to risk any issues from Nintendo. "I'm sure it'd be disinherited," he said. "Also, every piece of equipment is serialized and everything is regularly sent to Nintendo, so they'll see exactly who played it and when. They brag that they can disable the device via remote, even though you can do that on any device that's updated, but it's a shame to even announce it. I'm just checking if I can do a demo. The official delivery will be exactly 1 day before the release, so hopefully we can pick it up earlier." So that's crazy. I don't know how many hours he drove, but if that's his personal vehicle for this store, like, that's just wild to think about. I just thought, with global distribution being complicated and weird, apparently the Switch 2 sells well in Slovenia, which I never thought about. But that's crazy though. Like, dude loaded up his car. Okay, I used to work at GameStop many moons ago, and I did some stuff for, like, on behalf of the store that I like. If I were to revisit that, I'm like, I wouldn't do that for my employer ever. And it was just stuff that required personal time or materials or, just resources to get done. And it benefited only the store. It didn't get me a raise. I wasn't compensated, and it was just stuff because the store, we were all friends and worked together and it was fun. I was 18 and dumb, it wasn't a big deal. And looking back on it, it's like, this guy, like, really cares about his business, and I don't know if it's a chain. I mean, did the article say it was? Anyway, that's kind of cool that he would, just put in that kind of effort to just satisfy his own customers in his home country, town, area. Anyway, let's move on. All right, we alluded to this earlier. Back on Insider Gaming, Sam CPL writes, "Nintendo is anticipating Switch 2 to go out of stock at launch." I think everyone's anticipating Switch 2 to go out of stock at launch, not just Nintendo. "Nintendo expects the Switch 2 to sell out at launch, as some retailers may have already received out-of-stock signs for the upcoming console." So, spotted by VGC, a post on the Nintendo Switch 2 subreddit tells us Nintendo is anticipating retailers to sell out of their Switch 2 units at launch. The post features an out-of-stock sign that Nintendo has created specifically for the Switch 2. The sign comes with the Switch 2 logo, along with key art for the console, pasted across huge red board with the words "out of stock." Let's just look at the picture. Yeah, Nintendo would do something like that. Here's all your official signage to promote the console, and here's how to promote that you can't sell it because you don't have it. I mean, they expect the response to be big at launch. It's a new Nintendo system. Aside from the Wii U, I think almost every Nintendo launch has been pretty hyped up in the last, I don't know, since the Super Nintendo. So I think it's cool. I mean, it's not going to be like the Wii levels of hype, but I think it's going to be close. The Switch 1 launch was very special. and had a lot of hype behind it. I feel like the way Nintendo announced the Switch 2, there's a little less hype, but the demand is going to be higher. That's just my take on it. But it's wild to think like they're like, hey, here's everything you need, including the materials to say you're out. Because I remember when we had the Wii, it was when I was working at GameStop. We launched the Wii. We had to like print out or hand write, hey, we don't have any, or we have 7 Wiis in stock, and then we would like cross off the page ourselves with like, permanent marker or whatever. And it was very haphazard and thrown together. Now Nintendo's sending out stock update signage. That's wild. Working in retail, I would never go back to it, but good lord, it's got to be chaos with all of this. Anyway, let's move on. All right, another Switch 2 upgrade. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet runs at 60 FPS with Nintendo Switch 2 free update. Josh Challies writes, again at Insider Gaming, I covered this in a short yesterday, little vertical video, but the first footage for Switch 2 update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has showcased crisp gameplay at 60 FPS, fixing one of the title's biggest issues. Talks about first release in November 22. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is the first fully open world title in the franchise, expanding upon the feature introduced in Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus, but there were huge teething problems. Stuttering and gameplay performance issues were one of the biggest setbacks to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at launch, particularly in areas densely populated by Pokemon, particularly Casseroya Lake. Footage shown on the Nintendo Today app, which is a very useful app for getting like tidbits of news, by the way, which was shared by Cerebi on X for the Nintendo Switch 2 free update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, indicates, man, that was a mouthful, that these issues have seemingly been eliminated, though with smooth gameplay at 60 FPS, which I'm very much looking forward to. The update comes as the game edges towards its 3-year anniversary, with many players' adventures in the Paldea region already completed. It's a positive sign ahead of the release of Legends ZA. It's definitely going to make me revisit the game. Alright, what else is coming this year? We don't need to worry about that. Let's talk about this and leave these starter Pokemon here. What I want to see is, and you could kind of see it in certain spots in that 60 FPS footage. It's a very short clip. It's like 30 seconds or so of gameplay. But you can still see some pop in and some, like, it looks like the draw distance has been increased as far as like what the quality, like how close the high quality assets are loaded in is further out, which is great because, sometimes you would see a Jigglypuff and it looked like it was the original Super Smash Brothers model for Jigglypuff out in the distance. And that bothered me in 2022. It still bothers me in 2025, but I do want to revisit the game, wander around different areas. Mostly I just want to see how fast the windmill spins and when it switches to 10 FPS mode, because I'm telling you guys, I make jokes about that windmill, but that was my first big concern, that this game was going to run very badly. It's like, hey, why is that windmill being shown in official footage at all, running like that? That is embarrassing. And nobody paid attention to that, but here we are. I'm excited to see if the windmill runs at 60 frames per second at all. I'm also looking forward to just seeing how other stuff performs within the game, because it felt like sometimes, especially when you were doing like online stuff, that in a battle, hitting an attack would just take a little while to perform, or when you would terrestrialize your Pokemon, it would take a little while to load. I'm hoping that's been increased, like that's faster, but we'll find out when that patch hits. It would be nice if they could also go back and give a little performance patch to Legends Arceus right before ZA launches. I think that would be cool. But that's just me. I don't think that's going to happen. That's just me. All right, let's move on. All right. And then I think this is our last Switch 2 tangent adjacent article, but Hollow Knight Silksong fans prepare for Shadow Drop after Steam update. This literally came out at the time of this recording a little while ago, or this morning. I don't know. Maybe they're using it. It's on Dexerto. Hollow Knight Silksong fans are ready to be hurt again, as an update to the game's files on the Steam backend has reignited hopes of an imminent release. It's been over 6 years since Silksong, the follow-up to 2017's critically acclaimed Metroidvania Hollow Knight, was announced. It was originally expected in early 2023, but was ultimately delayed. Since then, there's been precious little news on when the sequel will actually arrive, leaving fans clinging to any morsel of information. The game is set to appear in a museum exhibit later this year, which fueled speculation it's set to drop in the next few months. Now, with Summer Game Fest looming, Silksong has received another update on Steam, which fans think could mean that a release is finally on the cards. Silksong fans think it could launch at Summer Games Fest, which would make sense. June 3rd, data miner Wario64 revealed that Silksong's Steam page has received some backend updates, with one package being altered for the first time in 15 months. This is far from the first time we've seen this. The fact that Summer Game Fest is taking place on June 6th has fans convinced that something is coming. In fact, many have even speculated that the game could shadow drop during the show. Gonna call it shadow drop for both Steam and Switch too, said one excited fan. Manifesting will drop on Summer Game Fest, posted another. Of course, this is far from confirmation that Hollow Knight Silksong will launch during the Summer Game Fest, as Team Cherry aren't even officially confirmed to be appearing at the show. However, it'd certainly be a perfect mic drop moment to get fans hyped. Never say never, but it's much more likely we'll get a new trailer and possibly a concrete release date later in the year. I hope, for Silksong's fans' sake and their own sanity, that we get like a trailer, a demo, a something to just let people play. If it's the full game, that would be awesome. That would be perfect. But I thought it was interesting. Every time the page gets updated on Steam, people are like, hey, the game's coming out, and then silence. So let's hope Summer Game Fest hype just draws it out. Team Cherry's been working on it for years. It's ready to go. Let's see what all the hype is about. I'm excited for it. I still need to go back and finish Hollow Knight, but I'm excited for it. Anyway, let's move on. All right, let's talk about Fortnite, Darth Vader, and AI. We talked about this a little last week about how SAG-AFTRA was going to sue Epic for not consulting them about using an AI voice model for Darth Vader in Fortnite. But here we have Mark Griffin on Polygon writing, Epic's AI Darth Vader tech is about to be all over Fortnite. Get ready for more unhinged interactions. And he goes on to write, Fortnite's AI-powered Darth Vader shenanigans were just a test. Epic Games will soon allow Fortnite creators to craft their own chatbot-esque NPC for the Battle Royale game. The gaming company announced the forthcoming feature called the Persona device on Tuesday at its State of Unreal 2025 event. Epic Games explained that the new feature will be available through the Unreal editor for Fortnite, giving players power to equip their NPCs with voice prompts, knowledge, goals, personalities, and more when the new feature arrives later this year. Andrew Grant, vice president of the creator platform, and game designer Andrew Ruffini demonstrated the Persona device in a live UEFN Fortnite tech demo, where they programmed a snarky and demanding AI-powered NPC named Mr. Buttons. We're taking what we learned from Darth Vader and sharing the underlying technology with the creator community, Epic said during the presentation. As Mr. Buttons attempted to get the player to press a button, the Epic Games brass conversed with the artificial intelligence, demonstrating the AI's wide range of emotions and reactions possible through the tech. Apparently there's a video. Epic Games first unleashed AI Darth Vader in May, powered by a digitally altered voice from the late James Earl Jones, and while the bot's purpose, personality, and language were intended to match Vader's legacy, the programming's objective was quickly undermined. It's very true. Naturally, the feature garnered criticism as players tricked the AI into swearing, for which Epic was forced to roll out a hotfix. Then the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, came after the company as the group had been working to protect its members' legacies and work amid the rise of AI. SAG-AFTRA subsequently filed an unfair labor practice grievance for the new feature. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Epic Games rolls out the Persona device and puts more AI power into players' hands. And with how Darth Vader's situation has transpired, there's bound to be even more AI-powered controversy. Well, on one hand, it's cool to see that creators will be able to make their own NPCs for their creator maps. I think that's a cool idea. People abusing AI, I'm shocked. Yeah, Denali, it's not shocking that we got to hear Darth Vader say "skibbity" in Fortnite. I mean, that's the most Fortnite thing that could have happened. And anyway, where was I? All right, got derailed. No, I think it's cool though, because if you're like a custom map creator and you're creating, There's all sorts of things you can do with Unreal for Fortnite. But some of the maps have like depth to them and stories or objectives, and that's all really cool. So having an AI persona to maybe guide you or interact with, or be the bad guy or whatever, that reacts to you in real time, I think that's cool. And no amount of voice acting could replicate that. That all requires pre-recorded scripts and stuff. And this is like real time, off the cuff responses. And I think that's amazing. I really do think it's cool tech. I don't want it to become the norm, but I like the idea. For special things, like I thought AI Darth Vader in Fortnite was hilarious and really neat. And I like the way it knew like your character's skin and reacted to it. And I thought that was fantastic. So I'm here to see more of it. Like I said, I don't want it to become the norm. Regular voice acting for like narrative heavily scripted games is great, but real time player driven experiences, I mean, that's the perfect use for it, I think. As long as it's, again, not in a way that like undermines, I don't know, anything. It could be used nefariously. Let's just hope it's not. Right? Let's believe the best of people, but not surprised when they show up with the worst. Let's move on from this. Games Radar, you want me to give you my email? No. All right, let's talk about Epic some more, though. Desperate to fight Steam, Epic burns money like firewood, but admits the Epic Game Store kind of sucks and there's still a ton of work to be done with long overdue features. Austin Wood at Games Radar writes, the Epic Game Store just now pushing preloading and gifting. So I've used the Epic Game Store. I've used it very, very frequently because free games are nice. However, the experience is not Steam, and that's hard to compete with. That's like any competitor to Twitch for live streaming. Hey, it's not Twitch. It's not great. Any competitor to YouTube for, uploading videos, the biggest criticism is, well, it's not YouTube. So let's just like set those expectations, right? Not content with just fighting Apple in courts, Epic continues to battle Valve in the PC gaming storefront arena, which you may have noticed is still dominated by Steam. Epic boss Tim Sweeney admitted last month that the Epic Games launcher is clunky in the company's Unreal Fest demonstration today. Epic Games Store General Manager Steve Allison agreed that even after years of building the store on PC, we know there's still a ton of work to be done and deliver a world-class experience. Long overdue features are on their way. Allison said, years after launch, the Epic Game Store is finally getting game preloading in September. Epic is also looking to add gifting in time for the holidays. Gifting would be awesome. New Epic Game Store social features coming this year also promise game-independent voice chat, text chat, and parties, along with robust game invites for third-party games. Yes, the store has not had all of these features for several years. That sentence reads so matter-of-factly. Yes, we know. We know we suck. We're also putting great focus on ongoing launcher improvements that will make the store feel great to use, Allison added. My hottest tip, remember my login. Yeah, I wish it would remember my login. When and how Epic may finally deliver these improvements or better address the gulf in game discoverability, which is one of Steam's biggest advantages, remains to be seen. Epic can definitely do better than Valve. One thing Epic can definitely do better than Valve, they can light money on fire. Yeah, it's crazy how much they spend on the Epic Game Store, free games. They've also, I wish I had pulled it in this, but they've also reduced developer fees to be on the store to 0% for the first $1 million your game makes. So, hey, if you release a game on Epic, you're keeping your revenue for that first $1 million, and I think that's awesome. It's not Steam is a strong argument, Denalid. I mean, it's true, though. Like, that's the argument with any competitor to a long-lived product or service or feature, is it's not the other thing that I know and like. And that's a hard thing to break. Like, some people just will never download the Epic Game Store, no matter what games are free on it, because it's not Steam. And they don't want to fool with anything that's not Steam. So, I just find it interesting. I wonder if Epic will ever drop Fortnite on Steam. I think that would be the kicker. That would be Epic going, okay, look, we know some people aren't going to move over, and we'll just do that. Inertia matters. It really does. All right, let's move on. Okay, bad news. EA has canceled the Black Panther game and closes Cliffhanger Games. This was from last week, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit. This is on IGN from Rebecca Valentine. EA is canceling its planned Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Games, IGN just learned. In an email sent to staff from EA Entertainment President. Well, I need this bigger. Just a little. There we go. So you guys can read along with me. An email sent to staff from EA Entertainment President Laura Mealy said that these changes, alongside other recent cancellations and layoffs, are being done to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. In addition to closing Cliffhanger and canceling Black Panther, EA is also laying off some individuals on both its mobile and central teams. When asked for an exact number of individuals impacted, EA declined to comment. That's never a good sign. IGN understands the total number of affected individuals in this wave is less than the roughly 300 roles cut last month across Respawn and EA's fan care teams, but cannot confirm by how much. These decisions are hard, Miele wrote. I'm sorry for saying your name wrong, but you're not going to see this video anyway. They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding opportunities within EA where we've had success helping people land in new roles. I mean, at least maybe they're helping people. I mean, that's kind of cool. You could have just not laid off an entire studio. As with past rounds of layoffs, EA is endeavoring to place affected individuals in other roles across the company. The company has made use of this placement program with each round of layoffs in recent years, an effort that remains possible despite the constant team cuts, likely due to EA seemingly drastically increasing headcount on other teams at the same time. Per Game Files reporting, EA employed 800 more people as of March of this year than it did at the same time 2024. So to that end, Miele's email continues. The company is focusing on a small handful of franchises going forward: Battlefield, Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Miele also reassures EA will continue to invest in its Iron Man game at Motive and the third Star Wars Jedi game, as well as it maintains its mobile business despite today's cuts. That was a weirdly phrased statement. The email doesn't mention EA Sports, but this is due to Miele running EA Entertainment while EA Sports is a separate division. IGN understands that the sports division is unaffected by these changes for now. Additionally, IGN understands that the current intention is for BioWare to continue working on Mass Effect. So, yeah, it's a bummer. It's just more details on that. I don't know if it's worth jumping too far into. But I hate when we see these layoffs because, I was interested in what the Black Panther game was going to be. And, Marvel games have not hit. And I'm looking forward to some that do. Because, Marvel Rivals has a lot of momentum behind it. But maybe that has passed as well, and we need something new. And I like single-player games, so I was looking forward to it. But I also know at least one person who was affected by the layoffs a few months ago at EA, and it's annoying to hear it on this show or any reporting. It's even more annoying to know people affected by it. Not in a negative sense that it's their fault. It's just like this company is huge, and you mean to tell me you can't manage your projects better to like keep your head count and not overextend? But here we are. It's like I read these. It's almost every week we find out another studio is closing, and I hate to end on bad news like that or sad news like that. But that is the last story we've got, so that's where we'll leave it. I hope EA doesn't fire anybody else. At least they're not the world's most hated company anymore, right? Anyway, that does it for this week's Game News Show. Guys, thanks for hanging out. If you're watching this live, thanks for being here. We're going to go play video games in a moment. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, comment on any of these stories. Are you picking up a Switch 2? When this goes up, the midnight launch will be hours away. So are you going to pick up a Switch 2 at midnight? Do you already have it by the time you watch this video? That would be interesting. Let me know what you guys are up to regarding the Switch 2. And then thanks for hitting the subscribe button if you like the game news and want to support the channel. It helps me out. Anyway, that's where I'm leaving it. I'm going to play video games. Bye, guys.